We're going live.
Evening, guys.
Well, greetings, world, and greetings, Seven Spot. It's time for another daily dose. So here we are, all three of us. We got John in Evesham and Dave in Nashville. How you doing?
Evening, everybody. Welcome to another live stream.
Dave is enjoying his very last morsel of lunch before he. Yeah, well, that's cool. So here we are. Today we're going to be joined, I'm told, by Jason. Now I'm having difficulty with how do you pronounce his last name, John?
Is that Jason Protozak with his BMW?
Mercedes. He's going to be dropping in, so I'm going to guess. Now it's spelled Protaczak.
Yes.
I'm going for Protaczak.
Yeah,
Protaczak.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah. Let's hope, and he can confirm.
Yeah, well, that's what that we're having a poll, and the winner will win a dozen donuts.
Plot twist: is he Polish?
Yeah.
And we're having a poll, but it's just Jason.
No, we did a live stream with him. It didn't sound Polish. Maybe just got a Polish name from the family. But lovely guy and a very unusual car, which I'll let him talk about it.
Well, we talked about it yesterday, and to a certain degree, it's a Merc.
Yes.
Now, Dave, I never even thought about doing a Merc low cost, but apparently it's a thing that you're aware of. Merc low costs down in Tennessee, right?
No, but there was a guy on one of the K-Swap forums who was going to K-Swap his SLK.
Yeah, because
he had tired of that engine, but I would much rather have that original SLK engine that Jason's got. So
well, joining us now is Jason. How are you doing, Jason?
Evening, gents. Can you hear me all right?
No, hear you fine. Jason, we're doing a poll, and we figured that your last name.
We don't want to be rude. We're not being rude.
Yeah, no, we're just asking questions. Just say, we're taking a poll. Now, I'm going with Protaczak. And John, what did you go with?
I nearly went with Prozac, but I know that's something completely different.
Well, that's just for you, dude.
Yeah. So, who's the
so what's the poll up to then?
It's what?
What's the poll up?
It's about
I go with Protaczak. And John's
I put a
going
little
with
more
Prozac.
CH sound in it.
Right. So who's got money on it then?
Oh, the winner gets a dozen donuts.
Oh, right.
I'm betting with John's money.
Okay, so right. Well, it's Protaczak.
Can you say that one more time?
Protaczak.
Okay, got it.
I was close then.
So you were pretty close.
You were close.
Yeah,
you were close. I mean, I have difficulty with all things. Excuse me, is it Polish? I'm actually learning a little bit of Russian right now. So
Ukrainian. Oh
God.
That's okay. When we talk about donuts, we mean 12 donuts in a car, not of the savoury variety.
Yeah, a dozen donuts in the parking lot. So, Dave, you were saying that there's fellows in the forum who have been talking about Merc low costs as well.
Yeah,
is that right?
No, not in a low cost. Just guys that are I'm in a lot of the K-Swap groups because of engine I'm using. But somebody was asking, hey, is there an adapter to K-Swap their SLK? But I don't even know.
Good luck.
Yeah, yes. Jay. I'm sure nobody's making an adapter to go that way. Is it? I don't know the size of the bell housing or any of that. That would be.
No, there are plenty out there to swap Merc for Merc or Merc for BMW, but as for going on to a K engine, I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, while we're chatting about K-swaps, let's bring in Paul. Paul's joining us, and he's doing a build too, but his is a MEV build. Paul, say hi to Jay. And Jay,
hi, guys.
and John and
Hey.
myself.
Paul.
No
Now-
headphones. Can you hear me?
Oh, you can hear you fine, but
Great.
I'm going to ask you
Hi, Jay.
to join in
Hello.
on our poll because Jay's got a very interesting last name. It's spelled Protaszak, and we're offering a dozen donuts to the winner of the pronunciation contest.
Closest, yeah, the closest one to how it should be pronounced.
Where is it written? I can't see it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's not written.
Oh,
I'm just going to say I went with Protaszak,
I went with Prozac, which I know
Yeah.
is wrong.
and Dave refused to offer an opinion.
I was also wrong, but I have enough people say my name wrong, so I know how this. I know how
Hang on a
aggravating
minute.
this is about to be.
Hang on a minute. Let me see if I can get it up on the screen for you.
Okay.
Yeah, now I bet you're really glad you came.
I have
to
a hard
this.
enough time getting it right myself.
Yeah, this is riveting TV to watch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's why-
Absolutely.
That's why we've got so many members.
Yeah.
The view
Yeah.
counter is still at 0, so we're one above last time.
I'll take a flyer at Pratsic.
There you go.
Oh,
What was that, sorry?
I'll tell you now.
Prozac.
We'll give you a clue. It's country-wise. It's not Polish.
Protaczak?
Ooh.
That's kind of
Close.
where I was. Well,
That's my best effort,
Very
I'm
close.
afraid.
He gets
Yeah.
donuts.
okay. Yeah, to collect the donuts, you have to turn up at the parking lot where Jay is going to show off his car, and you can watch him do a dozen donuts.
I thought you were going to say Vancouver. That's probably, Jason's car's probably nearer.
No, I'm glad we have you here because you're a new member to Seven Spot and
Yeah.
and a member of Seven Spot Live channel. Now we've got all three of the Seven Spot Live channel members here: Dave, Jay, and Paul. Thank you very much for being with us. But you're Paul, you're creating, you're building a MEV. And I'm wondering if you can just tell us a bit about what you are building because you're not building an Exocet.
I'm a big fan of it
Yes
as well.
and no.
So
It's
yeah,
it's
far
an
away.
extra set frame. So
Yeah.
I bought from Stuart down in at MEV. I bought one of their race car frames, which comes with a full roll cage integral to the space frame.
Yep.
Oh, brilliant.
But the idea is that it's lattice work. You'll know what an Exocet frame looks like.
Mhm.
And what I'm hoping to do is to build the similar lattice work roof rack above the roll cage
Yep.
that would carry kind of dry bags or camping equipment, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. And then on the back, there's like an orange pod that covers the petrol tank. Or
Yes.
having spent all afternoon in the workshop, an orange cover that doesn't cover the petrol tank. So I need an aftermarket petrol tank. But on top of that cover, I intend to mount a fifth wheel. So I've got a full spare wheel, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah.
And then down the sides on the Exocet frame, obviously I've got it's a lift kit from the States, Exomotive, I think, or
Oh yeah, I know. Actually.
Yes,
Finally
yeah.
Harder, one or the other.
Yeah.
So the lift kit gives you it doesn't give you any more suspension travel, and it's obviously still rear wheel drive, but it gives you about another 4 or 5 inches of clearance from underneath.
Okay.
And then
So you
the
can-
final plan is to put almost side pods between the wheels, as if they were kind of cooling side pods, but they were for extra storage.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
And the idea
Yeah.
is I'm gonna drive it down to the south of Spain.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
I've seen a lot of certainly in the States they kind of like put perspex on the outside of the frame, which I think looks. I don't like it. You know, you buy these for what they are, but yeah, the side pod idea, that's very interesting. Yeah, definitely.
Well, what I've just worked out this afternoon is that because it's a race frame, the existing the fuel tank doesn't fit. So the race
Right.
frame sort of rear pod, if you like, that's meant to cover the fuel tank, assumes that you'll use an aftermarket aluminium fuel tank, I think. So
Yeah.
as of about an hour ago, what I'm thinking is, I wonder whether the side pods could actually be a fuel tank, and then I could use the back as a boot for the equipment, because obviously you're going to be overlanding all the way down to the south of
Well,
Spain.
that's actually not a bad
Yes.
idea, because
Yeah.
it'd be easy to lock everything up that way too.
Yeah. Although I don't know whether a side impact into a fuel tank would be a good idea, but
No,
then, you know,
probably I would. I'd be tempted to leave the fuel tank on the rear because it's got all the tubes around it. Then, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
I got a dumb question, because I don't know anything about Exocets, but how big is the standard fuel cell with it? Is it a nominal size?
Well, it costs 50 quid to fill it up, and it's £1.50 a litre. So what's that? Probably 30 litres.
I was going to say 30. I was going to say 30 liters. Yeah.
Yeah.
do
30,
the
35
Mevs not
litres,
use
maybe.
do the Mevs not use the factory MX5 tank? Or they like
I think
the
that the
regular
standard
ones?
road car does, Dave. Yeah, I think the
Yeah,
standard road car does. But because I've bought the one with the space frame, which is the race chassis, I think it uses a smaller aluminium fuel tank at the back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked the dumb question just simply because you're clearly not going to be using it for track use. You're going to be using it as a traveling nomad, shall we
like a
say?
tourer.
Yeah. That's the plan. Yeah.
And how long are you into your build now? Then, from what you said, I think you probably only just recently acquired it.
I started in earnest at the beginning of the year, so I picked up the kit, or most of the kit, just before Christmas, early autumn, really, I suppose, and it sat in the garage for a while. And I started in earnest stripping down the donor over the Christmas holiday, and I've now got to the point where because I've got things like a roof rack and side pods, rather than having the frame powder coated, which I thought, I'm going to be adding brackets and modifying tubes and doing all sorts. So I've just painted the whole frame with a matte black chassis paint just to stop it. I was watching it rust in the garage, and I thought I've got to do something to stop it. So I painted the whole thing just with a light matte black chassis paint. So every time I want to rub a bit off and put a bracket on, I can just MIG or TIG weld it on. And then finally, when all the additions have happened, or the modifications, I'll then send it off and have it powder coated.
Have it blasted and powder coated. Yeah.
That'll be
so I've managed to get it all painted, and the subframes have been shot blasted and fitted. The power plant frame has been powder coated, but the engine is currently in bits. So and all the ancillaries are off. So I'm just sort of cleaning more than building at the moment, I think.
Yeah, I think that's always the way. You mentioned you bought an MX5 donor. Then what model did you go for? Have you gone for which one did you go for?
I bought two by mistake. I bought one on eBay. From a garage miles away, about 250 miles away, down in where was he? Was down sort of North Essex way. So I drove down through from where I'm in North Yorkshire, went over the Humber Bridge, down through Lincolnshire, past Cadwell, and onto North Essex. Got there and picked up this MX5 at the beginning of last year to use it all the way through spring and summer, because it had a full MOT on it. And I thought, well, I'll get the benefit out of it, because a 2.5 was going for the best part of £1,000 anyway. So I thought, well, for another £1,000, I'll get £1,000 worth of joy out of it over the summer and, for a year. Yeah. And went down, picked it up from the dealer, paid him the £2,000, brought it back here, had a look round. I thought, this is too good to chop up.
Right.
So then when I inquired about the kit, Stuart at MEV said, I've got one rusting out the back. You can have that for £1,000 if you want. So I bought that one because it seemed criminal cutting the one up. So I've now got an MX5 sitting on the driveway that I can't get my partner out of, and another one that I then took apart. So I ended up with two. And the garage space I'd created for the project has now disappeared.
Yeah. Is that the one you're using, a 5-speed, 1.8, presumably?
Yeah, it's a 2.2. It's the Mark 2.5, and it's a 1.8 6-speed gearbox with a 6-speed gearbox, and the
that came with a limited slip diff on the back as well, didn't they? Yeah, the later ones. Yeah, brilliant. That's going to go well.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. So I won't, and because I'm going to try and get quite a lot of mileage out of it, I won't. I'm not going to turbocharge or supercharge it because it's not for the track. And I figure if I lose 500 kilos, there's going to be plenty of them for two of us and some camping gear, really.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more
interesting that you
reliable. I
mentioned.
don't start forcing any induction to it.
It's
Yeah.
interesting you mentioned about you're using it as a traveling nomad mobile. I mean, I have seen people with their full race cage with camping gear on top of their sevens and go camping throughout Europe. So it's a terrific idea.
I've seen a couple of I think they were Tigers possibly where he managed to strap on a couple of bicycles on the top.
Oh,
so
blimey.
yeah, so yeah, on top of the, on top of the, I mean they're low anyway, but on top of the roll on top of the roll bars at the top, there was these two massive bikes hanging off the top and kind of like hanging over the back, with like a big camping gear on the back as well. Because sevens aren't renowned for having a great lot of boot space.
Well, speaking of roll cages, Jason, what have you been up to?
Right. I was on the mad push for Kitfest, and I started working down my list, and I was ticking things off. I was waiting for parts, and I got bored, so I ended up buying a roll cage off of some random Suzuki thing. So I spent the last 3 days cutting that down to fit.
I saw your post.
So,
it's going well.
Yeah. So the Santa Pod list has remained pretty long, and then I've added a whole lot more onto it doing this.
Right. Yeah.
That was it when I got it. Yeah.
That's your roll cage sitting there in the back of your van.
Yes, IKEA style.
Now, I did ask. I know that you have a single car garage, and you are making a roll cage, but you don't have a tube bed. You have a mill, and you have a lathe, and you've got all kinds of fiberglass stuff. How on earth are you going to make this work?
Hopes and dreams, basically.
Yeah. I always say, sticky tape and hope. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to the point now where whenever I want to do something, I've got to pull the car out of the garage onto the driveway, do it out there, then push it back in, and it's just becoming a nightmare. I think I need a bigger garage.
Yeah. But you can't. Well, I mean, you can build these in a single garage, obviously.
Oh yeah, well, the garage that I built most of this in was a lot smaller than this garage, and it was literally climb over lathes and mills to get to the car. It was horrendous.
Yeah.
Right.
Luckily, this one's I think this is 4.2 meters, 6 meters, so it's not a whole lot of space.
Yeah, and Paul, you're the same. You're building this in a single garage. Your MEV?
Well, it's about 1.5. It's a sort of an L shape. So it's got a little bit of
that's nice.
A little storage room off the side, which is handy.
Yeah,
but however big they are, you just seem to fill it, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You don't want to see my garage. Oh my god!
And if you look over Jay's left-hand shoulder, you'll see just elements. Of his lathe there on top of the table. How you managed to make that work, I have no idea. And he's frozen.
Oh no, he's back in. You're right.
But the lathe wasn't the problem, it was the mill. I mean, I made a load of space and I got some proper shelving in here, so I created a space in the corner. Then some idiot decided to plonk a 3-ton mill in the corner, which is just completely ruined my game plan.
Yeah.
And you've got double phase electrical for the mill to make it work?
No, it's single phase here, so I'm converting it over from 3-phase to single phase.
Okay.
You obviously know what you're doing with that then. I wouldn't have a clue. I mean, I know.
No, I wouldn't go that far. Definitely wouldn't go that far. I'll make it up as I go along.
Yeah.
There'll be a YouTube video about it somewhere, won't there?
Yeah. As Dave and I were discussing yesterday, you measure once and cut twice.
Yeah. Yes. With myself, though,
break it up a little bit there, but carry on, Jay.
No, Jason, we are having difficulty with what you just said. Mind just repeating that?
Oh, yeah, so with myself, I measure 2 or 3 times and end up cutting myself instead.
Okay, there you go.
Instead of cutting the work.
Yeah, I don't ask Dave
Uh,
myself what you did with the tubes. No.
And seeing as we have Dave here,
Oh yeah, I cut a bunch of tubes out of my frame and then decided they should go back in. So everything is now just a little more than a 16th out because at least I use a skinny blade, so it'll be all right. I'm gonna gusset the sides and then block the holes. Jay, how much clearance are you gonna make from the top of your cage, like head clearance? Are you gonna have the up and over?
That's a very good point. Very
Cage,
good point.
Right,
because
so-
this is like a decision thing I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it's basically when I done the rear hoop on it, I sat in the car on a mocked up seat with a helmet on, and I got someone to
Yeah.
draw like a straight line 2 inches above the helmet.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
after that, I decided I wanted seat runners, so I lost that 2 inches again. So I've actually done the tubes so they are cut above your head and go down to the main hoop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
I've
they're parallel.
brought myself a little bit back in the cage.
I must admit that we've got an MK and our seats are on runners, but we've got like the GRP kind of like race seats, whatever you want to call them. So there is no padding. There is no. It's just you sat on a very thin 5mm bit of foam with a bit of stitching, vinyl, blah blah blah, and our heads are about 5 centimeters just below, with the helmet on, just below the top of the roll bar. We've only got the single roll bar hoop over the back. We've not got stays or the full roll cage thing. But very important, if people are thinking about roll cages, just make sure your head's underneath them.
well, that brings up another question. Jay, are you going to be using your car on the track? Because basically, are you going to get it FIA approved, or are you just going to? Oops. Well,
I think you've probably
All
got that.
disappeared.
I think, yeah.
I think it's something I
Oh,
said.
Jay disappeared. Apparently not. He's not
No.
even going to be using it on this show, Jim. Oh.
I think.
I ask about the
Okay.
cage because there's a lot of discussion on Grassroots Motorsports over here about the use of harnesses on the street and cages
Yeah.
on the street, and these are mostly for cages that people are building inside their road car. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Paul, you'd be in the same boat, and all the 7 manufacturers seem to be everybody's getting 4-point harnesses. But I always wonder if they're the ASM harness, like they have the anti-submarine inboard strap can stretch. I don't
Yeah.
know if you guys have harnesses in yours, but that suddenly I become like the big safety guy, and I'm like, oh, I really don't want to ever have this problem, and I've hit my head enough, so I
Yeah.
can't hit it
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, on one of the older MKs, they have the up and over hoop.
Well, that's
But
what I
they're
was going to get
parallel,
at with
Yes.
design wise with Jay's. Is he going to use that sort of the MK style where it's up and over and you can kind of hop in, or like there's so many different designs for track style cages.
Yeah. And with the sidebars, you get ones with sidebars coming out as well, which I don't like the look of, but it's a safety thing at the end of the day. Especially if you're out on track.
Well, I was just wondering, design wise, have you already come up with a design for yours, Jay?
I'm back, gents. My Wi-Fi decided to die on me, so I've reloaded and I think it's all working again. So
Oh, yeah.
where are we at? Sorry, gents.
We're just asking about your
roll
roll cage that you're going to be building. Do you already have a design in mind?
Not so much a design, more sort of offer it up, and if it fits, works. If not, then change the plan.
Okay.
And Jim, you were asking about whether it needs to be certified and FIA.
Yeah, I mean, are you building this as a track car, or is it just going to be for street use, basically? Because if it's if it's track use, you're going to have to get a cage that's approved, right?
Not necessarily for track days in the UK. I mean, obviously, if you're going into true motorsport,
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
True motorsport. Yes, you definitely have to get it approved. Track days, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the same situation here. Like, there's SCCA and there's NASA are the two,
Yeah,
like
the
the
governing bodies, whatever. Yeah,
yeah, they're two of the race series, and their cage requirements are different, and their roll bar requirements are different, and it depends if it's enclosed car, and they're by weight, and then it's by tubing size, and all this. But there's not as much about the clearances as it is about like construction and
Yeah. And your concern, Dave, is basically not being thrown either into the top of the cage or out of the car.
yeah.
No.
Apparently,
Yeah.
people bodies stretch a lot when you shake them.
Yeah.
So, not trying to do any of that.
yeah.
So-
Paul, I was going to Paul with the. I'm going to come back to the MEV frame as well, because you've got like on the MEV you've got like a double hoop, haven't you? But that's actually built into the whole frame. It's not like a bolt-on thing. It is actually part of the ME3 chassis, well, exoskeleton chassis, isn't it?
Yeah. Shall I send Jim a picture and he can probably put it on screen? I don't know how to do that, I'm afraid.
I'll
But
find
I'll
out.
send you one.
Yeah,
Let's do that. But yeah, it's integral. So the whole space frame that sits on top of the MX5 roller skate, the roll cage is integral to it. It's quite a cool design. I think it was Stuart Mills, was it, that designed it originally? Say that again, Jim.
I was just saying, is it on the MEV owners Facebook page? Oh, there we go.
Oh, there you go.
Is it that?
Yeah, it's on.
Dave's good.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it just depends if that's still the way the race chassis is laid out.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it is.
Yeah,
I can probably find
I
out.
think mine's slightly different. It looks very much like the Exocet race on the end.
Yeah.
I'll send you a photo.
Yeah, different. Yeah, I've probably got some somewhere, but they're for the basic MEV, I think. Or if I've still got them, but yeah, I just like the way that MEV with the roll cage, everything's built in as part of the chassis. There's a lot of people going down that route now, whereas a lot of companies in the past and a few years back, you just bolted something on. But now you specify what roll cage you want, and it does form part of the chassis itself.
And then, Paul, does yours have like a single, like diagonal, attaching like the windshield hoop to the roll bar? Is that how you're?
It's got like the entire windshield is a square, but the two uprights go all the way back to and up and over your head. I've just sent Jim a couple of photos. Actually, you might be able to put on the screen. And then there's a kind of crisscross affair behind you, which allows you with another crossbar that allows you to attach your harnesses. So
right, yes,
yeah, it looks kind of almost over-engineered compared to, say, if you were adding just a single hoop.
Right. Yeah.
Let's have a look.
That's
I think they've gone to Jim, so let's see if it can work his magic. So that's the front view. Obviously, the engine's in the way, but you can see the roll cage, and I think the second one might give you a better view of the back. So there you go.
There we go. Yeah,
that's the fuel tank that will not fit.
Mm-hmm.
But that roll cage is triangulated, and it's good. It must be 50 mil tubing, I would say.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it goes all the way to like the floor.
Yes, exactly. It's all integrated.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's not like a bolt-on type affair. It is part, as I say, it is part of the chassis.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean the side out, those arms that are coming out the back though go straight to the top of the to the shock turrets, and the main hoop goes all the way down to the floor, as you say, and then it's integral. So it's quite a piece of kit. I actually went to pick it up rather than from MEV. I got it from David, can't remember his name, who does all the welding for MEV, and he's in Lincolnshire.
Okay.
And he very kindly gave me a tour of his workshop, and he's got the jigs for making the different variations of Exocet chassis. But he said even with the jigs that he uses, everyone comes out different. They're all different.
Right. Yes.
And I can attest, having had to paint it to stop it rusting. It seemed like an afternoon's work, and then when you start painting it, trying to get the brush into all, and you realise how many different welds there are and how many junctions. I mean, God knows how long it must take him just to weld one frame together. So I feel I don't feel quite as badly done to now, given the amount of money I paid for it. When I realise how complicated it is. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to start asking Jay about welding and re-welding his space frame together, because he got one and it didn't work for him, so he had to.
Yeah, Jay, with your frame, your low cost frame that you got, which I think we said was it low cost, wasn't it? Possibly a Voodoo, but the front and back didn't work.
It was low cost, yeah.
Yeah, the front and back didn't work for you because you were going down the Mercury. So you just ended up cutting the front and back off and starting again.
Yeah,
yeah.
Sounds
literally from behind the seats backwards, then from the firewall forwards, I just chopped it all off and redid it all.
Yeah.
Because it basically was
it just none of it was working, and it was modifying what someone else was doing, so I just cut it off.
Yeah.
What's that, so Jim?
We're just saying it was a book chassis initially, and you have a completely independent rear suspension now.
Yeah, you swapped that as well, didn't you? Because it was trailing arm.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, it was. But getting
like
a live axle off an Escort or something, tie up.
Yeah.
What's that? Sorry.
It sounds a bit like Trigger's broom, Jay.
Hang on, I'm getting 2 or 3 people at once. Sorry.
I say it sounds a bit like Trigger's broom. You've cut the front off and remodeled it, then cut the back off and remodeled it. You've got to wonder what's left in the middle, haven't you?
Yeah, that's kind of about it. And Dave actually had a very similar situation with yours.
Yeah. So, Jay, you've got a bit of delay, which is why you might have a bit of.
It's the fact that you're not using headsets. It creates a small delay.
So don't worry about it. We can still hear you, so not a problem. Yeah.
Dave, with yours is a similar situation in that you bought a low cost frame too, and then you're in the throes of having to change it completely, aren't you?
Yeah, mine was a live axle, like a Ford Mustang 98, like a Fox body, or what, the SN95, I think, maybe, I don't even know, rear end. So now it's going to have a whole Miata rear subframe. Now, eventually. But Jay, did you weld your hoop, or is it bolt on? Your main, like behind the driver?
Both.
Hoop? Okay.
Yeah, both. When I done it, I basically welded a big 2-inch slug with a massive piece of thread into the end of the tube, put that through, bolted it on, then seam welded everything after that. So it's bolted and welded technically, but it's never coming off.
Yeah, the guy before me tried to weld the cross brace into the hoop after the hoop was built, but hadn't bolted it into the holes that the previous guy had put in. So it shrank, just enough so that the bolts don't work. Yeah. So I have a choice. I can either cut that tube and let it relax and then bolt it and weld it, or what probably is going to happen is I'm just going to weld it the way it is. I mean, it's not unflat, but it's, it's hard to stretch. It's big tubes. It's hard to stretch that to get the bolts to go in.
And as everybody says, and I believe them, it's the chances of doing a rollover in a non-competitive environment in a 7 is remote.
It's not, it's nigh on impossible. I wouldn't say it's not 100% impossible. I have seen a couple of accidents where people have run up a bank or hit a patch of oil on the road, run up a bank, and that is when he did turn it over and he was strapped in. He didn't have an engine cut on it, so the engine was revving it's just revving to the maximum. Oil was coming out. A load of people pulled over, and they just you couldn't get out the straps because he was upside down. Yeah, but a couple of people stopped, grabbed the car, turned it back over. He managed to turn the engine off. He's all right. I mean, the car was bit of a right mess. So it's pretty impossible to turn them over unless you're going to do something incredibly daft, or like he did. The roads were a bit damp, and there was a lot of oil on the road. And I know the council came out and cleaned up all the oil afterwards because that's what caused that accident. You never know. But yeah, roll cages, very important.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
just
what I
jump in on that because with my one, I'm not. Yep, sorry, John.
God, I was just, I'm just
Yeah, I was just saying with my one, it's not about being worried about cars turning over. It's about I park this next to my daily driver, which is a 3-ton 4x4, and the roll bar doesn't even come up to the bottom of the window.
Of course,
So I'm
yeah.
more worried about someone sort of mounting me, not seeing me, than actually rolling it over.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the top of this is the same height as a wheel bin.
I've never worried about that so much.
I mean, cars are getting bigger now. We need to stay very tall.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you should come see some of the Brodozers that are here. I mean, that's the one that I'm worried about. The unprepared racing lane change,
Yes.
lifted F350 with,
Yeah.
accessories.
Yeah.
That I never worry as much about myself, right? But there's a lot of other idiots.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
definitely.
You drive them like you ride a bike,
Yeah.
right? Everybody's out there to kill you. The thing that it concerns me is being T-boned. I mean, that's the thing that I worry about.
Jay, did you make a whole windshield hoop, like a windscreen hoop that goes behind, like a front match for your? I think I actually can see it over your shoulder.
Yeah. So I've got the rear hoop. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just So just turn that way.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So I've got the rear hoop that goes all the way down. Yeah, and that ties in on the chassis down the bottom where it triangulates in the corners. I've also made mounts that come off of here that tie into the frame for the scuttle because I've done a welding frame for the scuttle, and ties up over here. Got the lumps here to clear your helmets, and then straight back onto the main hoop behind.
Brilliant.
And then I'm thinking about doing side cars off of here down to the bottom corner, but we'll see how I'm going for tube and time at that point.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's an easy climb in. That's kind of nice. I like that.
It's a bit of delay.
Well, I'm 6'2", so easy. Maybe not. If you're 5 foot, you'll get it no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul, how long do you think you're going to be before you finish your car? Do you think? I mean, you're
good question.
You're obviously going to put it through IVA.
Yeah, I'll have to go through IVA eventually. Yeah. So
yeah,
there was two schools of thought. Stuart at MEV was suggesting you could just do the bare minimum and get it through through IVA, and then do all the add-ons, because they're largely cosmetic. Or I could do everything and then send it off for the IVA. So I don't know. But what I'm learning is that it's a very good kit with, a lot of the parts come with it, but nothing fits. So it's not Meccano by any stretch of the imagination, is it? So absolutely everything I start to work on, I have to, I'm fettling with and moving brackets. The fiberglass doesn't match the frame, and it's because all the frames are unique, isn't it? So nothing quite fits.
And you've got
so longer than I first thought.
Yeah, and you've got the racing chassis as well, which would be slightly different. I mean, I've spoken to I'm on a lot of kit car groups, and a lot of them just say fit the bare minimum to get it through IVA. So don't fit a windscreen. If you fit a windscreen, you need windscreen wipers, and you're going to need a washer bottle, you're going to need demisters, all that kind of stuff. Just don't bother.
You can bringing back all kinds of really sad memories of going through the registration process.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they'll pick
so if I did literally, John, did do the bare minimum, so no windscreen, no lift kit on it yet, no, use the road tires and the wheels that came with the MX-5, same steering wheel, just put it through.
Exactly.
Do everything required, then bring it back, and then modify to my heart's content, as it were. So I think that's probably, but even then, just getting the fuel tank to fit and the bodywork is proving challenging, shall we say. So it's all new to me. I'm enjoying it, but it's the world of kit cars.
Yeah. Is this your first kit car you built then? Or you must have some, you must have some experience with cars though. You don't just wake up one morning and think I'm going to go and build an MEV.
Yeah, no, I started, I suppose, 30 odd years ago, pulling minis apart, and then moved on to Land Rovers. and every other car that I had from being a student when I couldn't afford to buy anything that wasn't 20 years old. So from Datsun Cherries to Vauxhall Cavaliers, God knows what. And then motorbikes largely as well. So dirt bikes and that sort of thing.
Yeah, talk to me about. Yeah, I love talking motorbikes. We had a Honda CR 250. I've still got a Aprilia RS 125, which the mains went on that, and full Ruben. Yeah, you'll often find a lot of kit car builders and owners are into their bikes as well. Yeah, great. Yeah.
So by the way, guys, Jason just messaged me saying he's having Wi-Fi problems, so he's bowing out for the rest of this.
Okay. Catch up with you later, Jason.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a lot of good information, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'm
looking forward to getting back in touch with him because we both share an interest in doing work with fiberglass and carbon fiber. And I'm sharing with him one of my son's textbooks. My son is an aircraft structures mechanic on working on that. So we may be doing a little bit of an instructional thing on the show together. I think that'll be very interesting.
That'd be brilliant because Jason's actually made when you see his car, that's not the finished result. When you look at the bodywork, he's made that out of stainless steel and plaster. And what he's going to do is take the mold from that. And then he's going to do it all in carbon fiber, and he's going to be doing it himself. So he's buying all the carbon sheet himself and all the resin, blah blah blah, and we'll make a mold from that. So what you actually see on his car at the moment is not the finished article; it's how he wants it to look. But he will take a buck off it and then do all the carbon. And I'm really interested in that because I don't know anybody who's done that at home. I know they've made people that have made a few small parts, but not. And I think he's gone that route as well. Because he was saying he tried to fit a Westfield on it. That was never going to fit. He just like trying to cut and shut it, and it was just too much work. So don't give up. He can do it himself, and he very talented bloke as well, engineering wise. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So that'll be lots of fun. How about you, Dave? Are you going to be doing some fiberglass work on yours?
Mine's going to be carbon body too.
Oh, very cool. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll be sharing with you.
I'm sure Jason and I will be in touch. The guy that I like the best who's done it at home is the guy from Throttle Stop Garage.
I've not seen that channel. Okay.
He's done a lot. He's building he underbodied a Studebaker or something, but he made all his panels, he made molds, and he worked with the people from Composite
I've seen his channel. That's very cool.
He's very slow moving and very detail oriented and does a great job. He's like, he's like the rest of us. He wants it to be right, and he only wants to do it once.
Yes.
But then you find out how much it costs to make the whole thing from scratch. And you're like, oh.
Don't tell the missus. Yeah, don't tell the missus. And I was thinking about you, Paul, because you're about making your side pods. Have you got any idea about how you're going to do that? I mean, to be fair, I saw a couple of cars at, was it Malvern Kit Car Show? And it was a 3-wheeler with the Yamaha. It wasn't an R1. It may even been a Busa. It was a bike engine, single-seater. But what he'd done on the back of the car, where it single wheel on the back, where the back came in, what he'd done is fitted actually motorbike panniers. Oh, yeah. And they did not look out of place at all. They looked like he'd painted them all the same color, that kind of thing. So
like the T-Rex.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
exactly. So what are your thoughts on what you do with your side pods? Do you think, or
well, I
it
think
can come later?
I think the plan is rather than to make pods, I'd just make lattice cages that exactly like the space frame itself. So if you imagine coming out the depth of the wheels, and then having crisscross lattice work. Like a trough on both sides almost.
Good
idea. And then you could stuff into the trough dry bags and then have like a webbing or a netting over the top.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And it'll tie in with the Nomad look. Yeah.
Yeah, integral to the space frame. It just being a bleeding out of the. So if you look at the side profile of the Exocet, just bring that out 8 inches.
They're quite rounded as well.
And then have it open at the top, and you can actually step on it to get in through the hole in the roll cage. I mean, that's the other problem. I have the same problem getting in and out the bloody thing.
But that would also, going down that route with the almost like an additional little space framey bit on the side, that will give a bit more side impact protection. Not as bad, not as bad on any 7 car. But you can have that little bit more.
And then that's what occurred to me. Could I potentially just run a fuel tank in one of those inside the cage?
Mm-hmm.
So you could then, have an aluminium fuel tank that fits inside on the passenger side, and then on the right hand side on the driver's side.
Yeah, you'll
on
be
the
right.
bomb side.
On the driver's side, it'd be storage.
Yeah, you'll be right. Yeah.
Good
Although I
thinking.
don't know, the fuel tank's quite high up, isn't it? But it's got a fuel pump in it, so presumably it's not gravity fed. It would be fine down low as long as the fuel pump's adequate.
As long as you've got the fuel pump on it, 1 to 3 bar or whatever. I don't know whatever the MX-5 engines are running these days. I'm not up with fuel pressures or anything like that at all. Brilliant.
No, I'm not sure, but no, I think I'll probably leave the fuel tank at the back. Jim just mentioning fiberglass and carbon fiber work has just occurred to me that rather than changing the fuel tank for a bespoke one that fits under the orange cover, I could potentially keep the fuel tank and fiberglass a new construction over the top because there's a spare wheel going on it anyway.
Exactly. That's going to probably be a cheaper option than trying to get it fitted into the side pods and then running extra fuel.
But again, all that could come after the IVA.
Exactly.
Get it well after that. Yeah. I know.
So does
my
the race
case,
one not come with a fuel tank cover at all, or is it smaller?
It does come with a fuel tank cover. In fact, I can probably send Jim another photo when we're chatting. But it does come with a fuel tank cover, but the fuel tank doesn't fit under it.
Oh, it's like they assume you're going to put like an 8-gallon. They're going to put some smaller
race
fuel cell,
for the
one of
track.
the plastic square ones. Yeah.
In hindsight, nobody mentioned that at the time. Not that I'm criticising MEV, but that you can't use. It would appear. I've just asked the Exocet Builders Group in the UK if there's a solution that I'm missing, but I'm fairly sure it doesn't fit, and you need a race tank, really.
Right. Yeah, and that's
going to be no good. Have to. Yeah, you're gonna have to make a spot for a tire anyway. You could make a little frame that supports it really well, and then your tire's not resting on fiberglass or on the tank. You're gonna put like mostly a road tire. Or you're gonna be like an all-terrain because you're lifting it a fair bit, right?
Yeah.
So you want
I did
overland the whole thing.
Sadly, I bought 4 all-terrain wheels and tires from MEV at the same time as the kit. So I had something as a frame of reference to measure up for the mount. But had a burglary, unfortunately, and they nicked the wheels and tires and a couple of dirt bikes. Yeah. Not that long ago. So of all the things they pinched, the 4 wheels and tires. So, and that's when Stuart suggested just use the existing road tires to get it through the IVA, and then we can put the lift kit and the new wheels on. But that's this afternoon's work. So I've managed to get the cover to fit, but there's no way that fuel tank fits underneath there. So, although it does lend itself quite nicely for a wheel to fit on top.
Yeah. You could just extend
with a bit more framework.
Because you want this as a bit of a tourer, so you don't want a race tank in there. You want at least 30 litres, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I know. That's why I was thinking side pods. Yeah.
Or just extend the bracket mounts for that. Could
well,
you not? Is it left and right that it doesn't fit, or is it the height, or is it every dimension? Because if you just raise the whole thing up 4 inches.
Yeah, I could raise it up 4 inches, and then the fuel tank would fit, and then there'd be a 4-inch gap round the bottom, so I could either trim it in some alley or extend the fiberglass. Yeah.
Put more lights.
An extra 4 inches.
Lights,
Reversing light bar. Ooh.
Yeah.
Some rockets.
Well, I'm actually thinking of having a light bar across the top of the roll cage, where effectively the front of the rack will be. So effectively the front, and some big kind of old style CB headlights on the front. Maybe
really cool. It like the what was it, the Grand Tour where they took, was it a Caterham? I can't remember now.
Well,
right.
James May did a Caterham with 40-inch rear wheels and tractor fronts.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
which is amazing. But I'm thinking, like, I know you're not allowed to say aerial atom in public, like out on the internet, but if you look at those Nomad photos, it looks just like what you want. 9-inch driving lights all across the front of your luggage rack on the roof.
Yeah.
It could
Right.
be,
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
cool.
yeah, that's the plan. It was what gave me the inspiration and nearly influenced the purchase I made was the old VW Baja bugs.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that was the inspiration for it, really. I was going to buy a VW kit, and then I found the Exocet. I didn't realize the Exocet existed, and
Right.
but the Baja kit would have been my first choice. But then you're looking at a kind of 13cc, engine to poodle around in its, rear air cooled
Yeah.
VW. It'd take you a month to get anywhere, won't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
that's
yeah,
why
yeah,
God invented Hayabusa engines.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Paul, you'll have to excuse us, but both Jim and I are bike engines.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
I
bike
think I've
engines
got an
don't-
R1 engine somewhere that might go in the back of an Exocet, but then,
Oh.
Ooh.
I don't. That's interesting. I don't know when anyone.
Well,
has done that.
that was a question I was going to ask. How much is this going to come out? How much is it going to weigh when you're done?
well, the standard kit, I would think if I come in somewhere between a standard MX5 and the kit weight, it will be
Mhm.
about 750, 800 kilos.
I was going to say about 700. Yeah, 700
Yeah.
kilos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there'll
I
be a
feel
little
like
more
mine's gonna
steel
weigh
work
that.
in the frame. And the wheels and tires will probably be bigger and heavier, and there'll be a fifth wheel which you wouldn't have on a standard Exocet. So,
Yeah.
but I would guess at 750 to 800. But I'm not really interested in sort of forced induction and getting it to go any quicker, because I figure
gonna be
that
quick.
the standard
Yeah.
engine, the 1.8, is going to give me the reliability to go to the moon and back, really, because it's a Mazda.
Exactly.
you know.
That's
And
true, yeah.
It's a tourer,
Yeah.
not an out and out racer.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, our MK. I'm not a racer. I've never been on track day, but we've got ours down to 490 kilos. But that's with the bike engine.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, the Booster boys are going to be slightly a little bit heavier, but some of them have spent such a fortune. We've got big wheels on ours as well. You can drop down to smaller wheels, 13-inch or whatever, and then they do aluminium billet uprights. And you can once you hit a certain figure, to get any lower, it's going to cost you an absolute fortune. I'm quite happy with what we've got at the minute for the power output. It scares me. You have to be on top of it. You're the same, Jim, as well. You've got to know. You know what I mean? You don't just plant it and go for it. You got to get your head around it.
You do plan where you're going to plant,
Yes.
and it can get away on you. The vehicle is just so light, and of course the Busa engine is, for a bike engine, and mine's got a drag bike engine, so it's pretty torquey. So, watching the horizon spin.
It's not,
interesting experience.
Yeah, exactly. And you're kind of like figuring, you're kind of like looking at, well, what we're going to hit next.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Dave, what do you think yours is going to come in weight wise?
Oh, probably too much.
Yeah.
I think if I can get it in with nothing in it at 650, which is actually what most of the Caterhams are on the road.
Yeah.
And mine's a 442 with some very big tubes in the rear hoop, and I'm gonna put this windshield hoop, like build out the Caterham road cage with the two supports that are curved that go from behind the head to the windshield hoop. So, and my engine and transmission is kind of heavy. I have the taller K engine, so that's 280 something, and the transmission I know is right at 100 pounds. And I have full rear subframe. That's part of why I'm going to build out the front subframe, just to locate the Miata arms where I want them instead of using the whole frame, because there's plenty of metal up there. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Plus,
just wanted to say that
I'm fat,
Jason,
so...
although he's not participating in the live stream, he's listening intently, and he's offering up. This is what he's basing his roll cage on,
there you go.
Which is
That's
the
what I was
MK
wondering.
style. Yeah.
And I would consider that as well. I like the idea of the
I do
curved
too.
hoop, but I also want to make a roof. So then my roof would be really weird looking but
yeah,
that's
but
kind of
that-
okay.
That wouldn't work. No, a roof on that. I mean, you could get the bikini tops or whatever they call them. But yeah, that would not. Any kind of roof on that would not look right.
Yeah.
Probably
Then it's starting to
probably
look
would-
like
probably
something
would-
else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably wouldn't stay on either.
Yeah.
And how tall are you, Dave?
5'8".
5'8". So yeah, having the an exaggerated elevation on the hoops is not
The
necessarily
driver,
an important thing.
Well, the guy who built my frame built it. He was 6'4". So
Yeah,
the
that's
rear
right.
hoop
Okay.
is already cut for somebody who's like considerably
wow.
taller than I
Way
am.
taller.
So when I
Yeah,
sit,
yeah.
and you guys have seen my crazy scuttle thing that's
Yeah.
still there. I haven't cut it off yet.
Yeah,
but
your
it's so
scuttle's
tall.
like you're looking over the scuttle to do your driving. For
You
crying
could
out loud.
actually just you could put the little clear arrow screen from the MK Cup car, and it would be the windscreen height
Yeah.
of normal. Because when I drove, it's right here, but my scuttles, that's a thing we'll have to figure out. I don't need height for stuff.
And we're dropping you, Dave.
Oh,
But
that's not
yeah,
Yeah, that-
good.
your camera and your audio
Yeah,
faded in
Dave,
a little bit.
your feed has dropped a little bit there. Yeah,
But-
yeah, not a worry.
Paul,
Wow.
I'm going to
Well,
say
it's
this.
wired. Too bad.
Yeah, well, things can happen. It's interesting. Paul, I did mention that we still do want to do an exclusive show with you, a one-on-one with where you're at on the build. And I know that you do have some photos that are posted on other pages that I could have drawn up for this, but I'd love to get together with you on a separate occasion. Is that going to be okay with you?
Yeah, sure, that's fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess the afternoons are good for me, Jim, because they're good for you. That's your morning, I guess.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm a
yeah,
very early riser.
yeah.
Yeah, so I
I-
don't mind. PM for me and AM for you. That should work well.
Perfect.
Absolutely brilliant, and I'm really interested in your MEV build because I think MEVs are cracking.
Well,
cars.
and that's what I was trying
Yeah.
to do. I was trying to put you and Robert Goddard and Stuart together to
Yes.
maybe one or two other builders,
Yeah,
just so we could have some questions and answers. I think it would be very, very good.
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
But with working with manufacturers, we're working on borrowed time. So and you already know what that's like, Paul. So the
Yeah.
communication,
Yeah.
you put it out into the ether and it comes back magically sometime.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was interesting. I saw that I just noticed the magazine behind John. That's the newly redesigned Car Builder, isn't it? Is that the one that
Oh,
then
it-
used to be?
Yes, it used to be. Yes, I'm glad you noticed that actually because I'm subtle advertising.
Yeah,
Yeah, it used to be
that's
Kit
it.
Car
yeah.
with Adam Wilkins.
That makes
and Jack-
sense now. Yeah,
Yeah, Jack Wood's now taken that over. It's now Car Builder. Let's see that this was issue number 1. Issue number 2 is coming
Yeah.
out very, very, very short. I think 7th. What did he say? 7th of March. This is a cracking magazine. I mean, it's obviously hard copy. They can
Right.
deliver anywhere in the. They can deliver worldwide actually. Cracking magazine. There's more in it. It's not just about kit cars.
yeah,
I like the new format, and I like their new. They've got a new website as well. I like what they're doing. It's great for hard print. The way forward for hard print, in my view.
yeah. It's interesting stuff, isn't it? It's
Yes.
but it was interesting to read in that one. I think that is the launch one, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes,
I
issue
guess
1.
what they're doing then is, are they moving away from kit cars and more into car building generally?
I think that. They were doing 2 separate magazines. One focusing on kit cars, and then one focusing on other cars, and it just made sense to why we're doing this.
Gotcha.
You've got two publishing deadlines. You've got so many words you've got to write, and they're kind of like split through. So they kind of like brought it all
Yeah.
together now into one magazine. So you will still get the. Well, it's not. Yeah, we were talking about this, Jim and or Dave's frozen. We were talking about this: is do we refer to them as kit cars or specialist cars? Dave's back with us. So it's kind of like a
Very
shift.
still.
Yeah, kind of like a shift away from calling them kit cars, which is why this is called Car Builder,
Yeah,
because that encompasses all sorts of cars. You know, if you built a car, it could be anything.
Yeah.
It could.
Well,
It could
we were
yeah.
talking to Chris Hollier. I mean, he used to be the editor of Kit Car magazine, and
Yes.
and he mentioned that he was talking to the publisher
Years ago.
that you know about the looking forward, and he said that you can't use that word kit car.
It turns
And
people off.
It turns people off. So
Potentially.
and now even the stuff that we write, you know, we tend to write things specialty builders, you know, specialty car, you know, just so it's away from that word that people don't like to hear.
I think it's
Actually, funnily enough, one of the things I looked at was similar to you, John, the MK Indy. Is it Sean Smith down at MK, I think? And
yes, we're doing.
But it wasn't big enough. It didn't have enough girth to turn into an overlander. And I made the mistake of referring to it as a kit car. And he said, no, it's MK sports cars. Don't call them kit cars. So
there you go.
Modern classics, as they're now known as. We've got a great
MK, modern classics. There you go.
Yeah, we've got a lot of time for Sean
Smith
with
a K, I guess.
Yes, the German. Right. We did an interview with Bizzle that was at Malvern, and he talked all. I can drop the details on that if you want. I've got a lot of time. I am biased because I've got an MK Indy Classic. Great company, never had a problem with them. Great customer feedback. Always developing the product as well. Mm-hmm. It's not been announced yet. Well, I think it has actually in one of our other videos. But MK Sports Cars are going to be at Kitfest, and attended with a couple of their cars as well. So they're keen to get out there, and their race series as well. The Cup 200 and the Cup 400 doing brilliantly. I'm rambling on here now, so I'll shut up. But their race series is going absolutely brilliantly.
Yeah. Well, guys, we've been on for an hour and 1 minute.
Oh, it's always an hour, Jim.
Yeah, we made a pact, John.
Half an hour.
This is going to be a half-hour show.
Yeah, that's me.
But there's so much information.
That's me rambling on.
Yeah.
So
guys, I do want to say thank you, and we will do it all again. Now, I wouldn't mind your feedback, either now or off screen. Just to let me know what kind of things you would like to discuss on a future show. So
yes, anybody watching, give us some feedback.
All of the one people watching, put it down in the comment and let us know. And in the meantime, I'm going to say thank you, John.
No problem.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we'll see you at 7 Spot.
Yeah. Be seeing you.